Hello, welcome to Tendoc Talks about the Power Rangers role-playing game. There are a lot of cool things coming that I can't wait to talk about. Across the Stars, for instance, is a supplement that is coming out tomorrow. Well, that is, the PDF is coming out tomorrow if you pre-ordered. The actual publication is coming out sometime in June, so as soon as I get that, I'm going to take a look at it, analyze it, and see what kinds of things I can tell you based on it. So look forward to that. As a precursor to that, though, I wanted to make a follow-up video to one of my desires to do power builds. I've made mention about the amount of health and the amount of damage that different monsters and different Power Rangers can do, but I wanted to provide some context about why all of that matters. So today's video title, Insanity Damage, is not a reference to attacking someone mentally. It is actually a reference to the amount of damage something can deal. And we're going to focus on two Rangers in this video, just to kind of give you a comparison. So first I'm going to start with the Black Ranger. I'm going to use him as our baseline. And the reason why is because the Black Ranger does not have any additional abilities that increases damage except the final one that happens at level 20 that all Rangers get in some form. So he's a good baseline. The Black Ranger can use a weapon that deals 1 or 2 damage because all of the weapons in the book deal 1 or 2 damage. He can also use martial arts to deal 1 damage striking, right? At level 5, he gets the extra attack feature, which lets him attack twice, but then that's it. So the Black Ranger can attack twice with a weapon, dealing at most 2 damage. So twice, so that would be 4 at 20th level, because at 20th level, well, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. So if he uses a weapon that does 2 damage, he can attack twice at 20th level and deal 4 damage. When the Black Ranger hits 20th level, he gets a special ability that increases the amount of damage he does on martial arts attacks by 1. So what that means is if he didn't use a weapon, if he was just using his fist, he could attack and do 2 damage, again, twice. So he caps out at 4 damage per round. And he doesn't have to use any abilities to do that, it's just automatic. Now let me focus on the Pink Ranger for a minute. Now I know we did a video on the Pink Ranger and the amount of damage that this type can do. I do have to make a couple of corrections, but as you're going to find out, those corrections don't make much of a difference. So a 20th level Pink Ranger has a couple of things going for them. First of all, their power bow, or just any ranged weapon, it doesn't have to be a bow, but we're going to use a power bow in this situation. A power bow does 1 energy damage. At level 9, they get an ability that lets them do 1 extra damage, and at level 20, they get an ability that makes them do 1 extra damage again on all targeting abilities, of which Power Bow is 1. So that means 1 arrow deals 3 damage. Okay. At 20th level, the Pink Ranger can use a 6-shot volley, which means they can target 6 different targets and do 3 damage to each target for the cost of 1 power point. But at level 5, they got an ability called Penetrating Shot, which allows them to take all of the shots from a volley and target 1 target. So that means a Pink Ranger at level 20 can shoot 1 target with 6 arrows, dealing 18 damage. But hold on, it gets worse. So the Pink Ranger gets an upshift for every arrow in the volley beyond the first. So the Pink Ranger gets 5 upshifts on this attack to target one thing for that much damage. So let's assume, since it's level 20, let's assume that they have completely maxed out their targeting skill, meaning they roll 1d20 and 1d12. If you upshift a d12, it becomes 2d8. If you upshift 2d8, it becomes 3d6. If you upshift 3d6, it becomes auto success. And if you upshift auto success, it becomes automatic critical. And you still have one upshift left. You are automatically critting unless there are some circumstances where you take shift penalties. Using volley, I've already said, is one power point, and using penetrating shot is another power point. So 2 power points to do. Remember, you're critting, so if you crit, you can deal damage again. What that means is you are doing 36 damage guaranteed, unless, of course, you have downshifts, which might not matter to you, because if you specialized in targeting, you have 7 opportunities to crit based on highest base dice. You're doing 36 damage. So, compare that to the Black Ranger, right? He can only do 4 at level 20. A Pink Ranger can do 36. Now let's talk about grown monsters for a minute. The larger a target is, you get a bonus to hit it. So your standard large monster, gigantic or towering, you get a 2 shift bonus to hit it. So the Pink Ranger went from having 5 shifts to 7. Okay. Also, bows do energy damage. Energy damage gives you an automatic 1 shift against creatures that have been enlarged with magic. Or just enlarged, infused with the special energy that makes them big. So that's 8 shifts. So, in order for your opponent to make it so that you cannot crit, they somehow have to give you 4 or 5 downshifts just to make it so you don't automatically crit, which you could still anyway if you roll max dice. And this cost her 2 power points. She has 14 of them at level 20, which means she can do 36 damage reliably to a grown monster 7 times. Black Ranger does 4. And he only gets the upshifts for a grown monster. And that's it. Now, other Rangers also have this problem. The Blue Ranger also doesn't have very many damage increasing abilities, although he does have certain techs that will make you do 1 or 2 extra damage. The next best Ranger that can put out this amount of damage is the Red Ranger, but it would cost him 4 power points a turn to do up to 6 or 7 damage per swing. And he only has 10 power points, so he can only do that about twice a day. Now you might be thinking, okay, so that's a lot of damage for level 20, but that's not a huge deal. It's a deal well before level 20, because you get penetrating shot at level 5, but you're only really firing 1 extra arrow, so you've really only doubled your damage. But by level 9, you get that precise aim feat, or special ability that makes all of your arrows do an extra damage. So each arrow is doing 2 damage at level 9, and by then, you're firing 4 arrows per round, maybe 3 arrows per round. That's still about 8 damage per round for 2 power points. And if you go into the base rulebook and look at all the monsters' health, the only one that has over 8 hit points, grown monster or otherwise, is Rito Revolto with 15. And if you have Adventures in Angel Grove, the next biggest one, I think, is Goldar, and I think he has about 18 hit points. It is an insane amount of damage. When I say pink rangers do more damage than other rangers, I don't mean slightly more. I don't mean double. I don't mean triple. I mean the difference between 4 and 36. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, well, I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot. Remember, in Power Rangers, 1 damage is standard. This is the equivalent in D&D to 1d8. Why? Because some spells in Dungeons & Dragons do 1d6, and some spells do 1d10, so a good in the middle is a d8. So imagine, instead of 36 damage, imagine 36d8. What's average damage on 36d8? Or 36, yeah. What's average damage? 148. So imagine doing that. Just every round for 7 rounds. Or, like, even if you're halfway there, even if you're only like level 9 or level 10, maybe half that much. I mean, I guess Zordon was right. Too much pink is a bad thing, or something like that. I forget exactly how it goes. Anyway, tomorrow we're going to get a new guide. It's going to come with 3 new Ranger types: Gold Ranger, Silver Ranger, and Phantom Ranger. Once that comes out, I'll do a video so that you can decide whether or not it's something you want to have. Until then, stay tuned for more.